Hey, my name is Ben Hagberg. I'm a supply teacher with the Lakehead District School Board. We're here at Pride, and I'm here with Mr. Jonathan Ashton here. And I have seen him teach. I can vouch for that he is a great role model. He's a great teacher. And I myself have not officially come out to my students or my colleagues yet, but I am also queer, and I can vouch for this man 100%.
Hello GoFundMe. Welcome back to my page, and thank you for your support. Because of you, or people like you, or people that you told about this, I met my first goal, and I'm good to keep fighting until July 15th. I am Mr. Ashton. I am the queer student teacher who did not graduate from Lakehead University because I came out to my students. You have been a huge help, and you've earned some more information. Today I will tell you about the systemic homophobia in the Faculty of Education at Lakehead University. It is an open secret that Lakehead University is managed by bigots, and that change will only be possible when certain dinosaurs move on. Every professional is urging us to help students flourish as themselves, find that student's unique talents, and encourage them to express themselves in their own unique way so that they can thrive and education can be a good thing. Lakehead University does not provide opportunities for LGBTQ+ student teachers to flourish. I met 8 LGBTQ+ student teachers in our program, and only 3 of us were out. And I mean situationally out. The other 5 were out to their friends or coworkers or families or were living in same-sex partnerships. But their number is significant. More than half of the LGBTQ+ teachers that I met felt unsafe coming out. The director of Pride Central at the university got her master's degree in our program, and she did not come out until after she had graduated. There are no safe space posters in any of the Bor-Alaskan classrooms where we learn how to become teachers, and the administration does not know what safe space posters mean. A guest speaker once described a gay teacher that he had had growing up. The punchline of the story was that he didn't find out the teacher was gay until 20 years later. And isn't that great? Another guest speaker said that it was time to move on from the word inclusivity, because as a straight white man, it's not his job to include anybody. He mentioned his ex-girlfriend twice. The Ontario College of Teachers, in their accreditation, requires Lakehead to provide inclusive education. They have to teach us how to include all students. Inclusive education was so bad. The inclusive education course is a nominal course, which means the title of the credit is inclusive education, but the content is changed to what the faculty feels is more important. Bureaucratic procedures, new teacher orientation programs, other things to expect for our careers. The person they hired to teach inclusive education was openly homophobic. She was afraid that teaching queer content would offend people, and she had a detailed personal experience about how she was offended by queer content. She shared this opinion to me and a transgender colleague in public at length. So Lakehead relegated their queer content into one course and then hired someone against queer content to teach that course. In that course, I wrote an assignment about putting up pride flags in the lobby of a hypothetical school. My idea was to put up the lesbian flag, the gay flag, the bisexual flag, and the trans pride flag up in the LGBT sequence. And to do so in kind of like a public game so that the student body could arrange that sequence properly. I was called into the administrator's office, and they went over this assignment with a fine-tooth comb. They told me that if I was going to put up a pride flag, I would have to put up a Black Lives Matter flag, saying that it was something that even the gay community does not want. This meeting was not with the instructor, it was with the professional experiences coordinator. I wound up complaining about that inclusive education instructor, and I was not alone. In Ontario, the teaching profession is committed to equity. We all have a responsibility to call out discrimination. The complaint was valid, and it did end with her issuing an apology. And that's when things got serious. In Teachers College, on teaching placements, student teachers are beholden to two authorities. One of them is the associate teacher, and the other is a faculty advisor assigned by the university, who also has tremendous power over whether you pass or fail. Faculty advisors are carefully chosen for their qualifications and experience within the school board. After I complained, I was notified that I would have a new faculty advisor. My new faculty advisor was the inclusive education instructor. I'll say that again. After I complained about her, she was assigned to me as my faculty advisor on the placement where I was terminated for coming out to my students. I want to make it clear that I'm not throwing labels at just everyone who's ever done me wrong. My faculty advisor was homophobic because she expressly stated that queer content was not appropriate in a classroom because it made her uncomfortable and offended people. I'm saying the Faculty of Education is systemically homophobic because the administration engineered this completely inappropriate arrangement. A professor from the graduate program who has tenure and ranks above every member of the undergraduate program's administration educated the dean and the chair of undergraduate studies and the professional experiences coordinator about how appallingly untenable this arrangement was. To my knowledge, she was not a faculty advisor to any other student. There are usually about 20 students for each faculty advisor. When I introduced her to my associate teacher, she already knew my associate teacher. They had worked together before. Now, I'm not saying that I know what happened between my associate teacher and my faculty advisor, but I'm sure these two forces interacted. Possibly my faculty advisor made my associate teacher feel safe to act on her feelings. I do know that conflict was predictable. I'm also certain that they arranged this on purpose to cause me to fail the program. After my placement was canceled, I fought to complete the program. The chair of undergraduate studies refused to allow me to return to a new placement. He activated something called the essential skills process, which can remove a student from the Faculty of Education at the discretion of the chair. He said that I was incapable of listening to feedback. To be fair, I got a lot of feedback in this program that being queer was not acceptable at school. And I heard many, many times from my associate teacher that I should not have come out to the students. I wouldn't call that feedback, though. That's better categorized as harassment. When I met with the chair of undergraduate studies to discuss my removal from the program, people came to help me. A wonderful gay professor with tenure from the graduate program sat in on the meeting with me. And Lakehead University students from Pride Central sat in the lobby the entire time, even though it went overtime, and decorated the lobby with pride flags. There were a lot of factors that came together for me, including my own desire to continue, that allowed me to return to another placement. It was not Lakehead's offer. It was something I had to pry from their cold hands. Before I went out on that placement, the professional experiences coordinator caused to be placed in my file a letter of concern that I was spreading negative rumors about other teachers. They manipulated the new placement school to have the impression that I was a troublemaker that had to be watched very carefully. And while I was on that hard-won placement, I was called into the office one day. That announcement was heard over lunch to the entire school, all students and all faculty, and people were staring at me like I had gotten in trouble. And the professional experiences coordinator was there, and he gave me another letter of concern, saying that I was making potentially defamatory statements about my previous placement school. The way discipline works in these organizations is that you have the first letter, which addresses the issue, and then you have a certain time period to rectify that issue. And if another piece of evidence is generated that you have not corrected the problem, then they can do things to you. That weekend after I was called into the office to have the second letter of concern about the same topic placed in my file, I started looking for a lawyer. I was transparent with my university and my placement school about my concerns. I told them that I was looking for counsel and that I was committed to finishing this placement, giving it my best. It would have cost Lakehead nothing to just let me graduate, and they had all of the documentation necessary to justify doing so. I have hired Douglas Elliott, the man who won gay marriage and the LGBT purge class action lawsuit, and GSAs in schools. Lakehead University does not respect me. Lakehead University does not respect Douglas Elliott. Lakehead does not respect queer accomplishment and queer heroes. He should be welcomed and honored and listened to. And when he talks about what this queer student teacher needs and deserves, he should be respected. Lakehead was and is motivated to find a legitimate reason to fail me. If I lose my lawyer before I receive my degree, they will find a way to get me out of the program. While I was between placements, I was offered a job, starting in September, full-time, to teach my own class at full pay on an Indigenous reserve. I have a temporary teaching certificate that expires at the end of December. It's hard to get that certificate, but I got it because I am awesome. Our deal to Lakehead was that I would go and teach my job, and if I don't get fired by December, it counts as a placement, and I graduate. Lakehead responded by insisting that my job would include a faculty advisor of their choice and an associate teacher in my own classroom. You are not allowed a free pass out of Teachers College just because you're gay. I'm starting my career, and this is a triumphant place to be. Do they want the reserve to hire another teacher to put them in the same room as me? It's very clear that they just don't want me to graduate. And this time, instead of shifting the liability to their local placement partner school, they'll be dropping all of that evil on this wonderful, kind community. What they are doing to me is erecting a barrier to stop me from graduating. A barrier is anything that impedes a member of a marginalized group from educational achievement or employment that arises because of their marginalization. Lakehead did not include me in the convocation with my heterosexual peers because I had encountered homophobia. Equity requires Lakehead University to remove this barrier and allow me to graduate. All of this I'm telling you is a very long and complicated story. And you'll know that it's true because I can tell it over and over again in different settings. I can tell it backwards. This happened to me. This is still happening to me. Lakehead has not made a public statement. Lakehead Public Schools have not made a public statement. This is not a he said, she said. This is a he said, she fled. We know from climate change and the 2016 election that covering both sides is unethical. I'm clearly the victim here. Something awful has happened, and I seem to be quite talented and resilient and resourceful. And it really does seem like I should be a teacher, no? I am certified with honors as a teacher trainer of adults. I'm sure I'm not the only person this has happened to, but I am the first to react this way. My reaction, I'm sure, is striking you as unusual, strange, weird, queer. I am Mr. Ashton. I am the queer student teacher who was terminated for coming out to his students. So I hired the best gay rights lawyer in the world, even though I couldn't afford him, and I went on GoFundMe asking for help with my legal bills. Because of you, I met my goal to pay an overdue legal bill that would have gone to collections on July 8th. And now it won't, and he'll keep being my lawyer. But now another bill is going to be overdue and go to collections on July 15th, and we have not met that goal yet. I think Pride Month 2023 is possibly the hippest time to join the Mr. Ashton class. My lawyers haven't made a public appearance yet. This hasn't broken into the news. So if you're already connected to this movement in Pride Month 2023, I think that's really cool. That's cred. That's good. My lawyers have seen your support, and they know that they have a public mandate to get me through this program. If you want to save me, please donate so we reach this goal. If you want justice, keep donating afterwards. What would really be nice is accountability within these organizations. That will take a much larger amount of money, and you'll have to donate over the goal for us to actually be able to pursue perfect justice. Please alert your friends and neighbors and relatives and your coworkers and your bosses. Please tell them that I have this update. Please show them how interesting it is. And please donate and urge others to donate, because we really need to win this. We need equity for trans kids who face so much hate and so much discouragement from so many people in their lives. A special effort needs to be made to preserve queer teachers who will accept them. We need to bolster the confidence of all of those wonderful LGBTQ+ teachers who are closeted still in their own classrooms. We need to prove to the world that queer teachers in Canada are allowed to come out to our students. And cover-up culture needs to go.
Calling out homophobia is okay. Stay Mr. Ashton. Calling out homophobia is okay. Stay Mr. Ashton. Calling out homophobia is okay. Stay Mr. Ashton. Calling out homophobia is okay. Save Mr. Ashton. Calling out homophobia is okay. Save Mr. Ashton.
If you think I'm talking about you, friends, I'm not. It's not your fault. You took inclusive education at Lakehead.